Battling the opioid crisis. A town hall with ABC 17 News and Hot Talk 93.9 The Eagle starts now.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight for Battling the Opioid Crisis, a town hall meeting between ABC 17 News and Hot Talk 93.9 The Eagle. Thanks for joining us. I'm Marissa Holloway from ABC 17 News.
And I'm Brandon Rathert for Hot Talk 93.9 The Eagle. And we've been hearing from Mid-Missourians for quite some time now about this growing opioid epidemic. And I think more importantly, people have been wanting to know, how do we stem the tide here? And
we are lucky enough to have a wonderful group of panelists tonight who have agreed to join us for this town hall. We'd like to introduce State Representative Holly Rader, who is here, came all the way from Southeast Missouri today, so thanks for joining us. And also Troy Derby, thank you for joining us. He's a DEA agent from the Kansas City area.
And Dr. Brooks, that's how I know him, is Dr. Brooks. He's joining us here, and he has a unique story that he's going to be sharing with us tonight. And then we have a recovering addict who has been kind enough to come in. His name is Eddie. He's a local guy. He was in the throes of addiction for quite some time, and he's now been clean and sober for 4 years.
I'm just hoping that what we're doing here will change somebody's life.
On June 2nd, 2015, I received a phone call from a neighbor of my son's who had found him unresponsive in his apartment, and he had passed away from a heroin overdose.
A lot of the folks who are addicts, they think they're buying heroin, when in fact, we've even seen heroin just be 100% fentanyl, which is truly, it's a death wish.
The typical amount that somebody is going to rehab is 7 visits. So, you know, does anybody have any opinions on if rehab and how it works could be changed? It was
pretty common to sit in those meetings and hear people talk about being in rehab for the 6th or 7th or 8th time. So I don't know if there's other issues that need to be addressed with the addict. It's a pretty short period of time to be in rehab, it's usually 3 or 4 weeks of period of time that they're in the actual rehab setting. It's kind of hard to get down to the core issues of why somebody uses in that period of time. It's hard to fortify somebody with the tools they need to stay clean in that period of time. So obviously aftercare is a really important thing. But I think that something that takes 7 or 8 times to get clean from might need a little tweaking. We'd
like to thank everybody that sent in their stories and questions. It is a tough topic to talk about, but talking about it is one thing that might make it better. So we thank you for that. The first story here is from Whitney. She says to us, "My brother's been fighting opioid drug addiction since he was a teenager. He went through treatment over 15 times, starting at the age of 16. He had periods of sobriety, but the drugs pulled him back in. Last year, we received a call that my brother had overdosed. As a result, he suffered a traumatic brain injury. My brother now requires full-time care. Not everyone who overdoses dies, but everyone who survives an overdose doesn't necessarily get to live."
I wonder if anyone on the panel would like to talk about what I used to call stigma, but which I really want to start calling prejudice and discrimination, because it's not about your daughter or your son, and my deep condolences for your loss, or Eddie. It's about us and what we bring to it. And so I think calling it prejudice and discrimination is a start towards placing accountability where it needs to be, because we're really talking about just another chronic illness.
When an addict stumbles in their recovery, you know, so often they're looked at as, you know, they're never going to change. That's what they want. And we really need to remove the stigma, and that's one of the things that's been highly important to me as I go around the state and talk about this, is that removing the stigma and allowing us to have solutions out in the open is really going to help change the conversation.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate it.